just don't get it. Do you enjoy being hurt? I know you smell the perfume, the makeup on his shirt. You don't believe his stories. You know that there are lies. Bad as you are, you stick around, and I just don't know why. If I was your man, baby, you never worry about what I do. I'd be coming home back to you every night, doing you right. You're the type of woman deserve good things. This full of diamonds, a head full of rain. Baby, you're a star. I just wanna show you you are. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. A baby, good love and protection. Make me your selection. Show you the way love's supposed to be. Baby, you should let me love you, love you, love you, love you. Yeah. Listen, your true beauty's description looks so good that it hurts. You're a dime plus 99 and it's a shame. Don't even know what you're worth. Everywhere you go, they stop and stare, cause you're bad and it shows. From your head to your toes, out of control. Baby, you know. If I was your man, baby, you never worry about what I do. I'd be coming home back to you every night, doing you right. You're the type of woman deserves good things. This full of diamonds, a handful of rings. Baby, you're a star. I just wanna show you you are. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. Oh baby, good love and protection. Oh, make me your selection. Show you the way love's supposed to be. Baby, you should let me. You deserve better. You know you deserve better. We should be together, baby. With me and you, it's whatever, girl. Hey, so can we make this thing us? You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give everything you need, yeah. I said everything. Will you take me, baby? Baby, you should let me love.
Yo, how we doing, guys? How are we doing? Happy, it's Tuesday, isn't it? Happy Tuesday. Let me just open this up. All right, I think we're good to go. So I varnished this guy. We're on to metallics. We're actually up to metallics, which is sick. Might as well just jump straight into it. Now, I think we're going to do Psychorax Bronze. I might actually do it on a... Let me do it on this first before we film the tutorial. Probably going to cover real bad, but we'll see how we go. Yo, Wombat, my dude. Okay, Psychorax Bronze, notoriously bad at coverage, but we'll see how we go. We'll do this little skull first. Let's see how this covers. If it covers shit, I'm just gonna add like XV88 and then we'll just do 2 layers. It's not bad. I think we'll probably just have to do 2 layers anyway. It's not horrible. It's not great either. Trying to get my usher back in the phone. Yeah, that'll do. That's fine. Alright, let's film the tutorial. Also, we do have episode 8 of the Arcfest interviews. So all of the areas that we had base coated with XV88, we are now going to apply Psychorax Bronze to. This is going to take 2 layers because it's a layer paint. It doesn't cover great. So take your time with this step because it is very hard to tidy up if you make any mistakes. Maybe I shouldn't have added water to it. Thank you, Sierra. I appreciate it. Track.
What up, Mom?
What up, mommy?
How you been? Yeah, I know. It's all good.
Used to paste Ral Path figures. I'm not familiar with Ral Pather. What's Ral Pather? Is that a tabletop? A tabletop game, or are they just miniatures? Lead figures. Do you game with them, Sierra?
Got a fetish for fucking you with the skirt on the back street in the backseat of the Yukon. What's taking so long? I'm getting anxious but patiently waiting for you to tell a nigga to move on. Between me and you, we can find each other flying abroad in my private G2.
I feel a bit shaky today. It's not good. Miniatures from the 80s. Ah, got ya. Ral Pather. Let me look it up. Big Ben, thank you for the follow. Ral Pather. Ral Pather miniatures. Oh, it's like a D&D type of thing by the looks of it. That's pretty cool. Dungeons and Dragons, yeah. They're cool. Like nostalgic type of look. Nowhere near close to my level. I think that miniatures play a large part in the quality in which you can paint or your painting appears. Not taking away from my own painting. I do take a lot of pride in my work, but I think regardless of whether I painted this standard on some old miniatures, I still think they would look a little bit dated anyway. Yo, Nay, thank you, man. We're doing metallics. When did I start this? When did I start this miniature? When did I start this? Painting the Sanguinor. I started March 30th. Holy shit. Man, I've painted this quick, hey. I'd actually start, yeah. That's crazy. A week, yeah. I did paint at the studio though. You know, if I'm putting a couple of, I don't know, 5-6 hour days at the studio, it cuts out five streams, probably 5 streams worth of painting. Yo, thank you, Ben. Thank you. He won't be assembled tonight, but I'd say he'll be assembled tomorrow because there's not that many metallics on this miniature, which Nath would be a fan of. He's not a big fan of the metallics. Was T.I. in this song, or was this the only bit T.I. had in the song? I didn't even take any notice. It's just one thing you haven't really got. Man, it's something you could learn though, I tell you. So Ash, my mate Ash, he's not a massive fan of metallics. I like to keep my metallics quite simple. I know that, you know, when I do the large armor panels, like the Sanguinor, there's a bit more work in them, but I think for the most part, if you keep your metallics simple, that's the best way they work. That's the way they work best, rather. This is me at work thinking about miniatures. Except work, not boo. See you, Sierra. You go back on the 22nd. Hey, you got some time off. That's good, dude. That's good. Relax, do a bit of painting. Have a couple of sleep-ins. My body's still getting used to daylight savings. Hey, Prophet, how you doing? Should do the shield. We should do the shield. It's where the most metallics are. This is why I love Tamiya so much, because these metallics against the flat varnish of the Tamiya, just a very, very nice contrast in the finish of the paint. Time, but I don't know. Just wanna rock you, girl. Come on, let's give it up, girl. Finish your intercessor. How good? Now on to Termies. Now on to Terminators. So you grab the girls and you grab a couple more. Intercessor Sergeant. Boring. Nah. Nah. Sergeants are sick. Are you gonna give him a fancy loadout? I've painted, well, on stream for the past 2 years, all I've painted is 40k. I have painted some Age of Sigma. I love Necromunda, Ben. And a few years back, I did paint some Infinity. But I've sort of got into a bit of a rhythm and a niche of filming YouTube tutorials. So I'll do little snippets here and there of what I'm painting and then upload it as a full in-depth tutorial of these miniatures. So if anyone wants to paint a Deathwing knight like I have, then they can. Power Fist. Love to hear it. Your Intercessor Sergeant Prophet. Now, magnetizing's fantastic because future-proof your armies. But an Intercessor Sergeant can have a bolt pistol, a bolt rifle, and a power fist, which is pretty cool. The brown helps as a base coat, yes. Yep. And also just the process of my painting. I paint all the regular colors, apply transfers, then I do a varnish, and then I do my metallics. And it sort of works as a little bit of insurance too. So if you've got some areas that are really, really tight in terms of like where all the colors meet, you can be less exact, if that makes sense. Beneficial to run a plasma pistol? You got to do it. Hey, Miss 40k. Yeah, no, you got to future-proof your stuff, man. Got to future-proof your stuff. It sort of acts as a shadow, kind of, yeah. So, where's a good example? So on this helmet, that brown area is going to be painted with this metallic. And if I don't get right in close towards where the metal meets the eyes at the top here, at least it'll still be a similar sort of brown. If that makes sense. I'm doing good, doing real good. So, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Hello, son. How you doing, Tiny? My pleasure. The stream's all about trying to educate people to improve their painting. So if anyone has any questions at all, just put them in chat. There's no silly questions. Good. Tired and sore. Well, I'm not tired or sore. I actually might struggle to sleep tonight. Elavander, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you. I had my regular energy drink in the morning, then I had a double shot in the Arvo. I was a sleepy boy, had a double shot coffee, so I could struggle to sleep tonight. Might explain why I don't feel as steady as normal. Yeah, so to answer your question, Miss 40k, I'm doing real good because I've made fantastic time on this Deathwing night. Before we were just saying how fast I did it. I started this on the 30th of March. So it's like just over a week to paint this miniature. Double shot before edge highlights? No. I mean, we could get to do some edge highlights tonight, but it's metallics, so you don't have to be as locked in on the highlights on the metallic. We do have an interview tonight, guys. We do have an interview. As far as I know, we've got, and I'm gonna say it during the interview. We've got the big hoss. We got the guy that runs Arc. So could be a long chat. As a matter of fact, Ben, the most recent tutorial that I uploaded on YouTube, the Blood Angel tutorial, has the plasma pistol in it. This guy. So this plasma pistol is in that tutorial. I don't really go into the same sort of glowing as, I guess, Al Minestura and those type of guys, because I tend to stick to the heavy metal look. So the extreme glowing doesn't typically suit this paint style, but this is the same premise. Yeah. I use a wet palette. I do use a wet palette for metallics, but I pick out the driest part of the palette. Hey Marvin, how you doing? Yeah, I don't paint the I don't have like a really, well, Marvin gets stuck into me. My wet palette is not really wet. It's not really wet. It's normally just a bit of baking paper with a little bit of water on the sponge underneath.
How you doing, young lady? The feeling that you're giving really drives me crazy. You don't have a play about the choke. I was at a loss for words first time that we spoke.
You're looking for a girl that'll treat you right. You're looking for in the daytime with a light.
You might be the type if I play my cards right. I'll find out by the end of
This is actually covering way better than I thought it was going to. Way better.
Me if you get it.
all I can do is try. Give me one chance. What's the problem? I don't see the ring on your hand. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm curious about you. You seem so innocent.
You wanna get in my world, get lost in it. Boy, I'm tired of running. Let's walk for a minute.
And it's you that I want. Crispy curling, drying out baking paper. Yep, pretty much. And I got what you need. It's actually a perfect environment for metallics. Do I put a shade over the gold after I'm done? No, I don't. So this is my, well, I mean, yes. Not, so I don't paint the whole thing and then do a shade over the top. I'll be doing a shade after this step. This is how, man, he's just gonna break off this base. This is how I paint my metallics. This will be a tutorial. So I basically do a base coat and then I do a shade and then I glaze back up. I like my true metallics. I like my true metallics. Thank you, Ollivander. Appreciate it. And I got what you need.
Don't be mad. Don't get me.
Don't get mad, don't be mean.
Hey, don't be mad. Don't get me.
Don't get mad, don't be mean.
Wait. I don't mean no harm. I can see you with my t-shirt on.
I can see you with nothing on. Feeling on me before you bring that on.
Bring that home.
You know what I mean.
Girl, I'm a freak. You shouldn't say those things.
Only trying to get inside of your brain. See if you can work me the way you say.
It's okay.
It's alright. I got something that you might like.
Is it the truth or are you talking trash? The game MVP like Steve Nash.
What you need.
T-Pain, Young Jock. Hey, she snapping.
Nico with the gift. Thank you, my guy. Sends a gift before he even says hello in chat. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. We're up to metallics. Anyone that does this process, follows the same process as me, knows after you do varnish, or A, it's tough to not rush the rest of the job because you got metallics. And B, it feels good because you're sort of, I don't know, you're running a marathon. It's like the home stretch. Not that painting miniatures feels like work, but it feels like the last hour of work. You know, when you check the clock and there's like an hour left and you're like, yeah, man, I can do an hour. I can do an hour. Cool. I might as well do the helmet.
Won't you meet me at the bar? Respect big pimpin'. Tell me how you feel, mama. Tell me what you see. A certified dime piece deserve Louis 1-3. 150 a shot, 3 for you and 3 for me. I'm checking your body language. I love the conversation. And when you lick your lips, I get a tingling sensation. Now we're both by tipsy. You say you're in the mood. All I need is about an hour. Better yet, maybe 2. Let me take you where I live. Ferrari switch gears. When I whisper in your ear, your legs hit the chandelier. Passion fruit and sex all in the atmosphere. I'ma let T-Pain sing it so he can make it clear.
My bone recipe is Wraithbone primer, and then I airbrushed Ujabti bone. You could easily brush it though, you just need to thin it out. Recess shade is 2 parts XV88 to 1 part Rhinox hide. And then you edge highlight the whole thing with Screaming Skull. And then I did some chipping by mixing, I mean, you could mix any grey and brown, but you want the chipping, I think, personally, on the Deathwing armor to have a bit more of a grey tinge to it than a brown tinge, just so it stands out. And then you edge highlight around the chipping. Ja Rule, baby. Monica. I just think Too Fast, Too Furious. Black Sword, how we doing, man? All right, we started on this. We'll finish off this sword. Thinking Reichland Flesh Shade for the shade. We hungry, yeah. I said forget about it, cuh. Oh, school holidays, yeah, man. You'd be under the pump. Dude, that line, hand on the wheel, foot on the clutch. On the freeway. Why is your foot on the clutch, brother? Have you ever driven a manual? I think I saw an article on like Instagram, it popped up, and it's like Vin Diesel wants to take Fast and the Furious back to the streets where it began. Yeah, no shit, dude. It's where it should have stayed. Streets, yeah, the streets of Mars, yeah. Gonna be racing the biker mice from Mars. Assembling a Brutalis. Hunting for a Dreadnought sword. Good luck, man. Although you might have better luck finding a Dreadnought sword after they come out with the upgrade sprue, because there's that mace. So people might not want the sword anymore. Showing my age with biker mice from Mars. I think my grey beard shows my age, Elevander. I think the grey beard does that. Biker mice from Mars, awesome. Street Sharks. Battletoads. 38. I don't look a day older than 38. Yeah, the Mighty Ducks. Yes, true, dude. How good was the Mighty Ducks? No, this ain't R&B. Is this like Cody Simpson or something? Jesse McCartney. Still a track though. Still an absolute trackadactyl. I know Darkwing Duck, yeah. Yeah. Dude, come on. Samurai Pizza Cats? Tuna fish sandwich, yeah, man. Yeah. The Trachosaurus Rex. Cheese TV for the win. Yes. Yeah, man. Yep. Nico, have you seen the clip of, I think, is his name Ryan? And he was playing the drum solo to I think it was a Midnight Oil track. Dude, it's so good. So good. You missed Cheese TV? Yeah, oh, man. That was... Wake up before school, watch a bit of Cheese TV. Change it to Toasted TV? Yeah, Toasted means something else now. Lost your shit when they replaced Dragon Ball Z with Sailor Moon? The aerobics for Cheese TV, yeah. Yep. I mean, I watched the original. I watched Agro's Cartoon Connection. Yeah, lost you, Marvin, for sure. Oh, yeah, even Australian, you can watch Agro, yeah. It's before your time, Nath. Yeah, for sure, man. Around the twist. Oh, yeah. What about did you watch Ship to Shore, Nath? She independent. That's you, Miss 40K. Songs for you. Animorphs. You're talking about Animorphs, Nath? Is that what that was? Flattery will give you out. I'll give you 5 minutes to stop that. Captain Planet, yeah. Who was the voice of Gaia? Was it Gaia in Captain Planet? Oh, man, who was it? Was it Whoopi Goldberg? Or Nicole Kidman or something? Captain Planet voice actors. Yeah, it was Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg was Gaia. Did I watch Mummies Alive? I think I did. He-Man, yeah, the OG He-Man.
That's why I love
Then there was, I think it was the live action movie. Was it Dolph Lundgren as He-Man? I remember Skeletor scared the shit out of me. I watched Transformers, yeah. Yeah. We were talking about Transformers a heap last night. Beast Wars was sick. Beast Wars was so good. Went from Whoopi Goldberg to Lois Lane. Oh, really? Was it Lois Lane from Superman? That's crazy. Beast Wars was crazy because like Transformers were switching sides. Like that was wild to me because I was used to Transformers all being, you know, if you're a Decepticon, you're a Decepticon, that type of stuff. The OG? Do you mean Dinobot was the OG? Yeah. Do you mean Young Justice, Little Net? Do you mean Young Justice was sick? Very, very cool series. Graphics was sick for Beast Wars at the time, yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, it just blew my mind. And now you look at it and you're like, gee, man, how did I get around that? How did I get around that? There were so many good cartoons. Like, do you remember the original animated Spider-Man series? And then there was a Spider-Man 2099. That series was awesome too. Oh man, it's 15 minutes till the interview. We're just chatting away. I'm going to quickly just have a bathroom break because I don't want to have one. Yeah, X-Men 95, yeah. Yeah. Tough to beat. Be back in a sec. Give me a sec because I don't want to have a break during the interview with the big boss, Dan.
Yo, I ain't seen you in a minute, but I got something to tell you. Listen, see the thing about you.
Man, this playlist is fire. Playlist is fire.
That makes me change my mind. Kinda hard to explain, but girl, I'll try. You need to sit down,
This may take a while.
see this girl, she sorta looks just.
Yeah, the director of Arc. Yep.
She even smiles just the way you
The man himself. The guy you chase for refunds on tickets. Nah.
I'm reminded when I look at you, baby.
Remind me of a girl that I once knew. I know, and you girl. Angry Ginger, thank you for the follow. Voltrex, thank you for the follow as well. Yes, I'm eating paint. It's the quickest way for me to get it off the brush if I need to remove it from the miniature. Tasty, not the metallic stuff. It's got a bit too much of a tang for my liking. Scream of Pink though. Delicious. Delicious. The crunch. Nice. No worries, Elevander. No worries. Come back anytime. I'm here every night. Right here, every night. The ad-lib, yeah. Yep. Agreed. That shoulder pad is going to need 2 coats. 2 thin coats. Surely.
Whenever I look at you, wouldn't believe all of the things she put me through. This is why I just can't get with you.
One, two, three, four.
So we'll do the interview in, I don't know, a couple of minutes. 13 minutes we'll do the interview. Almost done. Yeah, we're up to metallics. You know, not that far off. Glad your hobby stuff comes up in your finances. Like an allocation of how much you can spend on hobby, or is it like you're spending too much? Hey Tio, thank you for the gift. How you doing? How you doing? Is painting metallic better for a beginner or non-metallic? Look, I would say that painting metallic is much easier than learning how to do non-metallic metal, but the earlier you get into non-metallic metal, if that is something that interests you, the better. I'm doing good, Tio. Painting metallics, it's always a good time, Like, because of the stage we're at, more than painting the metallics themselves. You love metallics, Tio? Yeah, I like metallics too. Like I was saying before, the process which I paint when you do a matte finish, I need to fix that up. Definitely need to fix that up. That is not the right color. Just trying to find you. I've been like a maniac, insomniac. 5 steps behind you. They can hit the exit check, please. Just reminds me of BMO. Check, please. No, wait. Shelby the Worm. Talking about Adventure Time. Check, please. All night long. Cause you love drunk. Like a TV show playing reruns. Every chance I get, I'ma turn you my it girl. Baby, you're the shit girl. Loving you could be a crime. Crazy how we fit, girl. This is it, girl. Give me 25 to life. Hey, I just wanna ride all night long. And put you in the middle of the spotlight. You could be my it girl. Jared Leto as Skeletor? That makes sense. I don't think I'm familiar with Alison Brie. But yeah, man, Jared Leto as Skeletor. That'd be wicked. You're going to Arc. This is your first year, Monk. I went to Arc years ago. I never competed. There is going to be some phenomenally painted miniatures there. Because I'm going. No, there's going to be some really, really awesome painters there judging on last year's entrance. They were like fantastic. We're going to be chatting to Dan, the organizer of Arc, in like 5 minutes as well. So he's got some more stuff to chat about. Watch Community or Mad Men? No, I didn't.
beautiful girls all over the world. I could be
chasing.
but my time would be
Getting your last parts of your orc army ready. Wicked, man, wicked. You'll have to come say good day because we're going to be there with our interview set up. So if people do have, I don't know, 5-10 minutes and they want to come over and chat to Marvin and our super secret other host, which isn't me, it's someone else. I'll probably be painting the whole time. Got to practice for painting comps. I would say that you don't necessarily need to practice for painting comps. Just paint and enter and just continue to improve. Like, just be part of it, if that makes sense. Like, that's why Marvin and I are entering. We're just, like, I've never entered a painting comp. I'm just entering to enter, right? Just to be part of it. The great return of Background Mike. Mate, I can't even get hold of that guy. Ask Marvin how hard it is to get to a reply from that man. He has disappeared off the face of the earth. And he lives like 5 minutes away from me. Oh, but do you know what? You're not even sure he's alive. I tell you what, it's pretty easy to get a reply from him when he wants help moving a car hoist. Then you get a reply real fast when he needs help moving a car hoist. Oh, yo, Judd, you're pretty useful. You're pretty useful at lifting stuff. Could you come and help me and some other guys move this extremely heavy car hoist? Yeah, sure, buddy. Although we did get him to the opening. We did get him to the opening of the studio. Arc's 3 weeks away. It's crazy, right? Well, am I into the car scene? I wouldn't say I'm into the car scene. I own two V8 Holden V8s. I like cars. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily into the scene though. I appreciate a good car. I appreciate a nice car. And as soon as this streamer gig kicks off, you know, we're 2 years in. I'm sure it's gonna kick off at some point. I'll buy myself an Aston Martin. Real sensible. Real sensible. Two minutes, guys, and we're going to jump into our interview. When you win the lotto, you sponsor me? Yo, that'd be sick. Have to keep the OF exclusive. Yeah, I know. I gotta put it on the link tree. Gotta put that OF on the link tree.
treated you better, but me and you were meant to
Cool. That's actually really good timing because it's basically 9. Yeah, we'll do the road to Arc after. We'll do road to Arc after the interview. Oh, hang on, wait. What that? Yep. All right. So give me, I don't know, 5 minutes, guys. I'm gonna set up the interview. So I got to turn the music off because I'll be chatting to the guys, and we don't need everyone to hear what we're chatting about. When we do talk to Dan, feel free to ask legitimate questions. So if you've got any questions or queries, put them in chat, and when we've got some time, I will ask him some questions. So yeah, give me a couple of minutes to set this up, and we'll be back with our episode 8, I think, of the Road to Arc. All right, I'll be back in a minute with Marvin as well. right. How we doing, guys? We are here with the big boss of Arcfest. We've got Dan with us, and we've obviously got BFG Marvin as well. This is episode 8 in the Arcfest interviews. Dan, Marvin, how we going, guys?
We good. Going well. So
it's good to hear.
Yes.
Good to hear. We do have a lot to talk about in this interview because Dan's got a whole heap of stuff to chat about. But before we do get into that, I like the backstory of our guest. It's one of my favorite parts, and Dan's been in the hobby for a while, so this could be a rather long story. No, we're gonna have the shortened.
It's gonna be a long story, but yeah, it's an old story.
It's an old story. So for people that don't know, how did you get into the hobby, Dan? Where did you start?
Well,
how long ago?
Like a lot of people. How long ago? It was the mid-90s, and like most people, went to school, and at school there was a group of guys that were talking about Warhammer at the time, and literally passing white dwarves around, all that sort of stuff. And I probably would have been in year 8, year 9. And yeah, just sort of started flipping through white dwarves, and I guess fell into Warhammer, not 40k. So that's where it all started for me. It started with Chaos Dwarfs, right around the issue that Chaos Dwarfs were released, the old school big hat Chaos Dwarfs. So I have a bit of a hobby crush on those for my entire life. But I guess around that time there was no. I used to live out in Ringwood Way, and there's no Games Workshops in town. There was one store in the city, Mind Games, that used to stock miniatures of any description. And there was a little bookshop down in Croydon, right near the station. It's not there anymore. They demolished it when they redid the station. But yeah, I used to go down there and look at the 10 or so blister packs they had on the shelf and try and, work out what you wanted to buy. If they had models from your collection at all. So, yeah, so I probably spent the first 12 months of my hobby life not really doing a lot of hobby other than just flipping through white dwarfs with my mates. So, because that was the cheapest thing that we could get because newsagents had it. To actually get miniatures was quite a challenging.
Yeah. We do have a question from one of the people in chat. We'll momentarily interrupt your. Yeah, this is one of the earliest questions we've had too. So we've got Black Sword, and he's asked. I'll just read the whole question. It's just easier. A question for Dan. Arc has grown into such an iconic part of the 40k scene here in Australia, especially in Melbourne over the years. What challenges have you and your team overcome with a grown 40k competitive scene over the years, and what do you find yourself looking forward to most heading to this year's event?
That's how much time I got? There's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? Okay, well, I guess the truth is that I'm not a creator of where Arc is at the moment. I like to see myself as the custodian, if that makes sense, because the first Arc Arc was around before I went to it, if that makes sense. Like, it's been going since 1998, and my first one wasn't until 2001. Okay, so I went to my first one I ran as a TO was 2012. So the event was huge before I took over. So and to that point, that the biggest Arc that's ever been in terms of the 40k event was 2010, and that was 200 players. Okay, and that was the second last year of the previous TOs. The previous TOs used to call themselves War All the Time. All right, WATT, and they used to just literally, it was all shits and giggles. Okay, you go to the event because you want to have fun with your mates and you want to play some games with your toy soldiers. It's very narrative. It's all the fun things hobby should be. And that's the Arc I fell in love with. Do you know what I mean? It's the weekends of, it's the 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, where you paint your army furiously to get it done. All nighters, you hang out in groups and with your mates. It's an experience you have with all your mates. And I did that. I did that for 10 years with a lot of my mates that still come to this day. So they're lifelong friendships, but it was all forged on this paint your damn army and don't be a prick and, play for fun. All these sorts of cornerstone attributes that we all love about the hobby. We just don't say it out loud.
Yeah, which is
Right?
still
Like
very much like the focus of
Oh,
Arc to this day.
100%, 100%. Because when I used to work for GW just before I took over from running Arc, and when Mark Morrison, who was like the TO of the time, and he was a very boisterous man, well, still is, and he's a very prolific. I don't know the correct word, but like a BM or for role playing.
Yeah.
So, and he crafts these stories. So he'd be this orator on the stage yelling at us, that Warhammer Fantasy sucks, all that sort of stuff. And we did a lot of crazy stuff that just was peripheral to actually playing 40k, but it got the vibe going. Anyway, so he cornered me one morning when I used to work in the city, and we would help him run the event because I used to help him transport the GW tables that were stored in my shop. But anyway, that relationship grew, and then he sort of handed it to me one morning over coffee, which was like a really challenging moment, I guess, when you talk about what challenges we've faced over the journey. So, because you've got something that everybody loves and the whole community is about it, like you've got 150 people every time coming to this event. And that's not just a short time. The first event we had that was over 100 players was 2004. And it hasn't dropped below that since.
Yeah.
It hasn't dropped below about 132 or something in the whole time. So it's a big event on Australian standards. And I guess that's one of the biggest pressure points right there in the whole lead up to anything. Don't worry about the competitive stuff later, was you get handed something that everybody loves and go, what are you going to do with it? And when he so flippantly even says to you, you can do whatever you want with it, it's yours now, like,
He's done.
what do you do?
Now, was there any forewarning? You said he handed it to you over coffee. Was it just like you had coffee with one thing and then out of nowhere he just pulled it out?
We would have had would have been late 2010 because he did 2011 and then announced me as a TO in 2011, and then 2012 was my first one. So and yeah, it was huge at the time. So
how was it organizing that first arc, your very first arc,
mate.
like compared to now?
It's a whole different thing now. We've put a lot of work into the organizational side of things so that it takes less time to organize some of the detail. By like the digital age and being able to, we've what do you call it? I'm not going to say manufactured. My brother has kindly helped us with a scoring system that's online, and we've been using that for about 10 years. So that helps a lot. So, but then it's just, you just got to, I guess the way I've always worked it out was what's the minimum you need to run an event. Once you've got that minimum, then you can build on top of it. Do you know what I mean? As long as people, when they show up, there's enough tables and enough chairs and enough all that sort of stuff. And you go, cool. What we do on top of that is all, it's all the bells and whistles, I guess. And we've always tried to focus on, even from the start, like, I guess when I first sat down to sort of work out what Arc should look like going forwards in terms of, I didn't see a reason to try and change everything because people loved it and I loved it. Now, the only thing I knew was I couldn't do it the same way the previous guys had done it. So I guess for me, it was about trying to put our own spin on the old ideas. And that's just sort of what we've done throughout the years. The first one was literally probably the most stressful because we're talking using a spreadsheet to run an event with paper scorecards. Same place they used to run it so that you get this, people that went a couple of years before it would have this vibe about what they were expecting, and then they'd get something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people in the hobby aren't great when it comes to change.
No, they're not. And one of the key things about it for me was, it's like your favorite band rocking up with a new singer, and you're like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
And I was really mindful of that. So, and that's where I guess I just went with some of the things that they did, and we started keep doing the veterans. We keep trying to make it the missions a bit left of center. And I just started thinking about all the things I loved. And at the time, in 2010, 2011, or 2012, there wasn't really much, a need to change it, if that makes sense. It wasn't until later years when we had, you have edition changes and things get a little bit more competitive. Do you start going, what are we going to do to try and maintain that fun environment with your mates, but also, it's still 40K that we were trying to play, right? Like we can't just
ignore it,
that bit out the window. And so I've had some challenges there. But on the whole, it just maintaining those cornerstones of playing for fun, making sure you're having a good time with your mates. So we kept rolling with the veterans, where they used to celebrate 5 and 10 year veterans. What else have we maintained? We maintained the count back. I don't know if you've seen that, where at the end the end ceremony, we count down 100 or however many places there are, all of them. And give away prizes along the way, which has actually become one of those almost signature things that we do that people comment on, like that are outside the hobby that I've seen from last year. I had one of the guys that was sponsoring us. He did some stuff upstairs, but then he came downstairs and watched the end, and he was just captivated by this count back that was like people celebrating that they came 80th. You got groups of guys together, and when your name's called, your mates congratulate you even though it's 80th. And it's just, once you sort of go through that a couple of times, it becomes like, it's addictive, I'll be honest, because you can see the impact you're having, like all this work we're doing. And we were talking, Marvin asked me earlier, how's everything going? I've got there's tons of things to do between now and Arc, but when you get there and you're doing that sort of stuff and you see these emotional responses from people, and it's just good. There's no other way to describe it than it's just good. And that's what people love about it. And that's the way we used to feel when I was going as a player. Do you know what I mean? I imagine that's how we looked when they were announcing things. So, but most of it, to be honest with you, it's more than just me. There's a lot of the community show up year in, year out. We've got a lot of 15-year veterans and a lot of 10-year veterans. And we've got we're starting to get more 20-year veterans now. So 20 years is a long time to be fronting up every year to an event to just roll some dice. And considering
that in itself is a testament of how much people enjoy the event itself, like coming back 20 years in a row, like that means something, I don't think there's people that are going to like Adepticon 20 years in a row and that type of stuff. Obviously, Australia is very hard to travel international, but for people to enjoy a tournament that much speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also very humbling when you start talking down that track, particularly in like when I was a player, it was something you idolized. I remember the politicking at work when I went to GW to try and like work out who was going, to try and elbow people out with the boss, get some favor. So it's just, and I guess to know that I feel like it's in as good a place as it's ever been right now in terms of that enjoyment factor people have, and the fact that we keep getting new people come along and enjoy it. And what I wanted to do when we started was just maintain it, because at the end of the day, you want to get to the point where I've said this to a couple of people on the way, you get older and you stop doing it, but then the the event still goes.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate the younger people now. It's because at the end of the day, we all love toy soldiers. I'm not going to make bones about it. That's what we do, and that's why it's so great. Because it's not going to go away next year. Because when we talk about when Black Sword was, it asks about how the challenges with the competitive scene is. We don't really compete with them because we're not really that competitive, if that makes sense. We value that all around hobby, and we focus on the things we love, not necessarily the playing for sheep stations bit. And we say that at the event, like when they're playing, and don't get carried away. We've had the longer we go on, the less rules judges we have, ironically enough, because people are just used to, like the hardcore guys, and the culture now has become you just work it out with your guy on the other side of the table. Because at the end of the day, if you're both happy, does it matter if it's So, and that again, we've fostered that, but that's ingrained in the people just as much as something that, like, we're not out there with whips and stuff going, this is how you must behave. That's natural behavior for people. So when they're enjoying it and not feeling like we still get them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we still get the people that are like on edge.
It's self-policed by the community itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that covers off most of what you asked.
Yeah.
In a long roundabout way.
For sure. So I've got a question. At what point did you decide to evolve Arc into the Arcfest?
And
how did it come about, and why did it come about?
The why is the challenge, but that's all right. Look, many years ago, even before we even started talking about Arcfest, it was probably in my third or fourth year running 40K. I was asked by someone around the time that was helping out, why don't we run it in different states? Like, why couldn't we just put our shit in a truck and drive to Sydney and run Arc 40K Sydney? And you go, and part of that's a really valid idea just off the bat, but it never came to fruition because it never really got any traction, and it sort of kept in my mind a little bit over the journey that it is expandable. It's just working out the right way to do it. And one of the big drivers for it, I guess, for me was we hit our 25th anniversary a couple of years ago. And that was just 40K and the Arc Open in its first year. And the Arc Open was was probably the test bed for it, to be honest. And the reason for that is one of my good friends, Andrew, he's been around the community forever. And I just talked to him about running a painting competition at Arc because he's delivered a lot for the community. And Arc Open for me is something that he can, a vehicle for him to drive a legacy, I guess. Something that can be around in 20 years' time if we do it right. And because he's put a lot in. He was a driver of Arc at the very beginning. Like, he was the manager of the CBD G-Dub, and he used to spruik it in the shop, and he'd go. He's run everything in the community. Anyway, and to see if that could work, and we did that, and we had Victoria Lamb and Squidmar. He was flown over for us, and you sort of get this vibe from people, and we just started talking with a couple of guys that were organisers, and what could we do if we did it bigger? What would we do? And I was like, well, why don't we run side events? And we started talking through what side events would you run, and you see that CanCon gets 200 players for Age of Sigma, and you're like, well, why can't we do that? Do you know what I mean? Like our Arc, what do you call them? Like those pillars we talked about, and not being a prick and playing for fun and painting your damn army. That's not a 40K exclusive idea. There's people out there that play Age of Sigmar that don't play 40K that do that stuff in their garage anyway.
Yeah, it
know.
almost extends to all of the other parts of Arc more than it does to the 40k. Like from what I've
Absolutely. Yeah.
gather in the community, the Age of Sigmar guys are painting their armies more often. It seems like a 40k thing. The Grey Tide.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the meta is probably more involved in the 40k than some of the other games as well, and that sort of drives that a bit. But yeah, so once you start going down that path, you start going, well, why can't we have 5, 6, 7, 8 events? Why can't we have a 200 player 40k event and then a 200 player Age of Sigmar event? And then why can't we do Lord of the Rings and Shatterpoint and the Kill Team? All we need is a TO that understands what we're trying to achieve and like that ethos, and away you go. And then what we found happen last year was once we announced all this stuff, it got a bit of a buzz, and then a lot of our older people that were a bit disenchanted with 40k started going, I might go to Age of Sigmar. I might go and have a look at Infinity, and then all of a sudden the 40k people that know the Arc experience, that want that experience but don't want to play 40k, are now branching out into those other games. And yeah, this year's only going to be stronger. We've already hit more tickets than we had all of last year. Fantastic. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot bigger this year than it was last year. And I guess coupling with all those events, that's when we started brainstorming the idea of adding exhibitors, and we were approached at the 25th anniversary by some people from LPG to come along and do some stuff at Arcfest last year. And yeah, that they found success in what they were doing, and then it just snowballs from there. Once people see them, you get other people come out of the woodwork and say, oh, can we come along? And so on and so on. Do you know what I mean? So, and yeah, we're just in the process now of announcing all our exhibitors. So we've gone from about, would have been 3 or 4 last year to, how many have I got here now? It's about 1, 2, there's at least 8 to 10.
Yeah, wow.
So if not more. So
can we run the people through some of the exhibitors and what people can look forward to other than the actual tournaments themselves?
Yeah, let's just make it bigger on my screen so I can read it. I'm not. I'm on the biggest. It's the biggest. That's all right. We can do it. All right. So obviously today we launched LPG coming back with Army. Last year they just bought Army Painter and did a paint and take and all that sort of stuff. And they're going to bring Army Painter back and do the paint and take again. But this year they're also going to bring AK, Monument Hobbies, Vallejo, and Two Thin Coats, as well as the Harder and Steenbeck airbrush as well. So that's definitely going to be something for the painters and the hobbyists. So they're one of the big ones. And then we've got Mitch from Addicted to Ink, who came last year and did his tattooing.
Yeah.
So he's coming along again.
Podcast. He's on the way back.
Yeah. Yep, he's on the way back. So I imagine if you watch his Instagram, you'll start seeing all the 40k flash pop up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's painting some stuff for the Arc Open too, from what I've seen.
Yes, he's a very big supporter of Arc Open. So yes. Then we've got Anesta Water. I should say that slower. Anesta Iwata. They make airbrushes. So they're going to be doing airbrush demos and just advice from people that use it. So not funnily enough, but when I said before that we had the guy that was a sponsor that was talking to us about the end ceremony, he was actually from Iwata, and he's pumped. He loves our community, and yeah, they want to basically be trying to introduce as many people as they can to airbrushing, but more the troubleshooting and making it look easy. They've actually bringing their full, well, not their full, but their a trade stand similar to what they would take to like a car show or anything like that. So, which is cool. We've got Dark Ritual, who are coffee and caffeinated beverages. So, just so we don't have to run a coffee machine.
Actually, I think I've seen that at House of War.
The guy that runs stuff. Paul, Paul, he's a 40K regular from way back, so he hit us up pretty solidly. Scotty Jordan, he runs a little 3D printing business called Game Gear Boss, so he's coming down to showcase 3D printing and all the stuff he does, which will be exciting. We've got some other newcomers in Mad Toys and Hobbies. They're a little game store down in Pakenham. The Richard, I think his name is. I'm going to say that's probably wrong. I've got so many people that are floating around in my emails. It's Darren, not Richard. Darren from down there has reached out to us and got in touch to promote his store a little bit more. We're obviously going to have Victoria Miniatures because Victoria Lamb's coming back, fresh off the back of Adepticon. So she's a really big fan of what we do, particularly being from an Australian perspective. And we're trying to sort of talk in that space of, getting to become a bigger con. And she's been along the last 3 years because she judges the Arc Open. Yeah. We've also got Team Australia coming along to have a little booth. One thing that kind of inspired me from the chat you had with Lee Ormsby, he was talking about how and we've obviously got that golden ticket for 40K. Yeah. And Kill Team, but Team Australia, they're the guys that go out there and represent 40K on the world stage. They do play 40K differently to the way 40K is played, but not all our 40K players just play 40K the way Arc is, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we feel like that they've got, our players can go there, or the players can go and talk to them, learn tactics. And Dean from Team Australia, he's been to a couple of Arcs before, so anything we can do to help them out and get them on their journey is I think they're going to do some little tactic sessions and things for people on how to get your most out of the 40K, so which is good. And they're going to be in a booth right next door and with the gaming arena.
Oh, so, perfect. Yep. So I'll be right next.
That's sort of where they run most of their stuff out of from my chats with my housemate, who I think is now very close to Team Australia.
So, but it's the other. We realize it's the other side of it, but it's. Do you know what I mean? We all play 40K. We all love 40K. We just go about it in slightly different ways, and that's okay. Yeah. And we're all just as passionate as each other. So I'm actually really happy they're coming along because I think they've got a lot to offer, like not just the people that are coming to Arc, but just the general community as well. So who else have we got? I believe House of War, obviously they're our major sponsor. They're going to be coming down in some capacity, which we haven't quite worked out yet.
Last time we were chatting with them, I think it was around the LARPing scene.
It could be. I'm not sure the space is available that they would need.
So, that's a lot of space. They run around crazy with tents, wands and stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of space at the at Sandown. Yeah. But nearly all of the decent sized space you kind of have to pay for. And the grassy area is a bit out of the way. So no, but I think they might be coming down to do something more hobby related in the main hall. The other one we've got, which was an interesting one, is War Surge. Have you guys heard of War Surge?
I personally haven't.
Excellent. No, War Surge is it's a universal. So it's made by three brothers that live down in Warrnambool, and they have done a Kickstarter for it, and it's basically a rule set you can use for any models. Okay. So they're going to come down and do some demo games in their little booth area. So,
Showing off a bit.
yeah, so they're the big ones at the moment that we're excited to have along. So there's a lot of different variety we were trying to get. We're not trying to get all paints or all 3D printers or all this. So,
Yeah. So always a hobby.
yeah. And yeah, we've got a few new sponsors as well that are coming on board. So, which is exciting. So lots of people that are seeing the growth potential, I guess, of what we're doing, which is exciting, because the only one, the biggest people that benefit, not just obviously the sponsors, but also the people that come along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So much better experience.
Well, that seems to be sort of the route that Arcfest is sorting to look to go down. We've spoken about it on the stream a fair bit. It's something it hopefully turns into a bit of a draw card, both people from other states of Australia hopefully wanting to travel, and hopefully one day people internationally are wanting to come and check it out. It's a 2-day event which has grown substantially in a short amount of time since you've taken over.
Oh, absolutely. The last couple of years have just been a whirlwind. So you barely get downtime before you have to start. Well, it feels like you get no downtime. I should also add that you guys are coming.
Yes, yeah, we will be there.
So I actually need to write that down. It's all about forgetting things.
So we will be there. Our BFG represent. The capacity of what we will be doing there is, I don't believe, yet set in stone. But we will be running interviews. So if people have any amount of time, even if it's 5-10 minutes, and they want to come over and tell us their story of how they got into hobby or how they're enjoying Arc, then by all means come and
their war
find
stories.
myself and Marvin and our special guest interviewer.
Yeah. To not be announced, it'd be a nice little surprise.
Yeah, you have to come to Arc to find out who that is.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to get a ticket. Yeah. Oh, the war stories are great. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the Arc experience. When you wander around, people finish games, and all they want to do is tell you the crazy things that happen in their game, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone will start telling you this story, and you're like, and I lost, and you're like, dude, just calm down.
Very excited.
Relax. I think the point is to win the game, not
lose.
So but if you have fun losing, it's even better. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's perfect.
Yeah. Do you have any fond memories of Arc when you were a player yourself? Like, was there a memorable match you had against someone?
I got a couple. One of them, memorable match. They're all really memorable. I have memorable moments that happened because I've obviously won Arc in 2004, and that sort of came out the side from nowhere because I never thought I was a chance.
Yeah.
And I actually it'd be remiss of me not to mention it, but probably my highlight was before I go too far, but 2011. So start of 2011 Arc, Mark Morrison announced that I was going to run Arc in 2012, and he put together this whole end ceremony stuff, and it was a big hoo-ha, biggest thing he's ever done, right? Anyway, my wife was heavily pregnant at the time, and we were about 4 weeks out, and day one, all good. Day two, we start out all right. End of game 5, I get the phone call from the mother-in-law. Dan, think you better come to the hospital. Okay. Oh, and I don't know what happened. All right, I gotta go. So I missed game 6 that year. I wasn't any chance of winning it. If you look back at the records, I came like 170th, but I missed a round. So
yeah.
But yeah, so my son was born before the end of round 6. So when you talk about obviously taking over from Arc, there's pictures on the side of my son, and like he almost has a birthday when it used to be in January. So
Yeah.
and yeah, and that was just one of those things where when we talk about and where that came from, obviously Mark stood at the end ceremony, and then my best mates that were at the event basically finished up and then we've got to go to the hospital and
Get some
see Dan and
support.
his kid. So yeah, so and then my two best mates came and you know and met my son for the first time, and it was just it's one of my fondest memories. And just it didn't feel like there was any stress in leaving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you're letting someone down, or letting something down. It's just so supportive. As far as actual games go, though, yeah, there's a lot of fond memories, but nothing that really stands out. All just being so good. Like when I was a player, I often think about could I go back and play again, but I don't think I play often enough now to even to be able
Well,
to.
what army did you play in 2004 when you won?
Iron Hands.
Right.
So yeah, when Iron Hands came out, like my first arc, I took Iron Hands, and that was 2001. And the whole idea was when I started in 2001 was take a different army every year.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So we would literally brainstorm for a couple of months and then literally start building and then and start again. And over the year, that was it, rolling armies to try and work out what you're going to take. But yeah, I took Iron Hands in year 1 and Iron Hands year 4, I think it was, but it was a whole new army.
Yeah.
Because I really loved there was it was chapter approved article. I don't know if you guys have been around for that, but before we had like codexes for Thousand Suns and World Eaters, we had these index articles that complemented third.
Yeah.
And it was like an article in White Dwarf that had this little box in the bottom that said, if you want to use this. So Iron Hands, you can have Terminator armor on your veteran side. That sounds awesome. And then you do it and it's like, this is terrible. I don't know who wrote this rule, but it's terrible. Anyway, so so I worked off that theme. And I love dreadnoughts, so it was just a sort of a bulk standard sort of army, to be honest, for Space Marines at the time. Just painted like Iron Hands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, fair enough.
it was actually when I was painting it, I remember sort of being a bit of a because I float from little group of mates just painting a little bit here and a little bit there, and it never really sort of stuck until the end, and they called my name out, and I was just like, oh, I got nervous towards the end of it, but you're like, you don't really think. You think when you're calling back like 150 odd names, you kind of go, has my name been called? Yeah, it's been called. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, must have missed it.
Like,
Yeah.
because I know this guy and that guy and that guy, they all score more battles, so on and so forth. And you just, and I still get it to this day. When I'm reading them out, you sort of think that people finish high. Goes past you. Anyway, so and it was good. So many beverages that night.
We've got a question from chat, and I might extend that to other people. Get your questions in for Dan, because we might we're pushing an hour here, so we've taken up a lot of his time. So if you do have questions, chuck them in chat.
Yeah.
We've got one here from Nath. What advice would you give to a person attending their first ARC this year? So I think Nath, this is his first year, and he's going to be taking part in middle ARC. I've just said his trigger word. What advice would you give to a first time ARC goer?
Oh, I would honestly say anytime anyone asks me this question, it's just about come with the idea of having fun. One of the things about that has made, like when we talked earlier about how we maintain, I guess, what we've done, I would put a lot of that down to our score system being where battle and sports are worth the same amount. And then we still have a form of composition judging. And for those that don't know, composition judging is where what models you bring in your army gets scored by your opponent.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously painting. So, and that's where I think the combination of sports and composition throws a lot of people. And at Arc, I'll tell them all now that you can massacre every opponent, but if you're not laid back and trying to have some fun with your army and the game, you're not going to score higher than someone who is scoring less in battle, but more in bumps the sports score up a bit when you're enjoying the game.
Yeah.
And we've kind of done that by design a little bit in the background where your battle score doesn't relate to your opponent, if that makes sense. So you not scoring points, if we were playing, you not scoring points doesn't make my score bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't add anything.
Yeah, and which means you're kind of trying to achieve objectives on a table whilst having fun with the guy on the other side of the table, rather than just punch dead.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of our missions in the past have been designed for the game. This is probably more 40k centric than Middle Arc, because Middle Arc, it's their first year. But the concept applies. Just come with the idea of having fun, and you can't go wrong. So, but our missions in the past for 40k have been, they sort of get tailored towards the game going longer, to try and encourage people to not just bring an army that is going to someone in a turn, because we know that's not fun.
Yep.
And I get that there's a skill and a talent in that, but that's not what we're about, I guess. And we've never been about that. So, particularly, I guess, for the 40k guys, take things you wouldn't normally take. You don't need to chase the meta to do well.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think Jacob, who's running the or the Middle Earth strategy battle game, I think he's sort of in the vibe of all that sort of stuff anyway. And look, 40k is the unique beast on that front, where we have that. They're not so hyper competitive in some of those necessarily in some of those other games.
Yeah.
So,
We got Nico over on TikTok. It's not really a question. I'll point it out though. There is the Arc open for people that are not overly into gaming. So if you are just wanting to go
100%.
to paint, Marvin and myself are painting up miniatures. You can purchase a ticket and enter the Arc open for the painting comp. But like Dan was saying, even if you want to go and you aren't a competitive gamer, you can still enjoy the Arc 40k event or any of the other events with your phenomenally painted army and still score well. So if you're a good sport and you've got a well painted army and you score okay, you can still do very well at Arc. But it's more about just the participation and being there and
the hobby as a whole.
Fun. Yeah.
Just enjoy yourself.
Yep.
So on that Arc Open front, they do have the Melbourne Figure Painting Collective are running a painters lounge there, and we're just finalising some details of some little classes too that will be happening in and around that space. So we're trying to make it a festival for everybody, as well as obviously the events. But if you're into tabletop war games and toy soldiers, you should drop down and have a look, because I think there'll be something for everybody.
Yeah,
even if it's just, to be honest.
And for people that are international and you can't make it, there are virtual tickets if you want to support the event as well. So if you want to see Arcfest grow and you can't make it, there is a way to support it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch on one thing as well, because it hasn't quite been mentioned. There's also like general tickets as well, so you don't have to go to play. So you can go to watch, you can go to participate.
There is something to be said for seeing 350 fully paid. Or two rooms. But and what we're trying to do at the start last year, and we're going to do it again this year, that half an hour space where everybody set up their stuff first thing, and you can go for a wander and actually see all of the army.
Yeah.
Particularly I think the AOS guys are probably getting into a bit spirit, but particularly the 40k guys, some of them go OTT on the old hobby side of things. Players' Choice has been one of the more prestigious awards. Every player gets a vote.
Yep.
And the army with the highest votes obviously wins Players' Choice. And they're always spectacular hobby. May not necessarily be the best painted, if that makes sense, like clinically, but they are definitely armies you just look at and go, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's cool. So the guy last year that won it, who I think you've had him on too.
James?
Yeah, I think so.
James? Yeah.
James.
Yeah, he had the Ghost Guard army, I believe.
We had a James on with Tyranids, so maybe we haven't had the Players' Choice winner on.
Maybe it was Tyranids. Maybe it was Tyranids and I'm getting confused.
Potentially, yeah.
Because that does happen to me a lot. One of the things
they all merge into one.
Oh, not just that, but when you're trying to run things in the background, we run to a different schedule, right, as a TO, because we can't. There's like when the players are doing things, we sort of stop doing things, if that makes sense. So when they stop doing things, we're doing things. And one of those things you kind of miss sometimes is which army actually won Players' Choice, because you get around and have a look at it all, and then when we get to day 2 and you get handed a little thing that says, oh, so and so won, you're like, okay, put that on the certificate, we're doing this stuff, and then you go, well, which army was it?
Yeah, got so much going on.
It's the worst thing about it. So you've actually got to spend some time on day 2 and just, oh, there we go. So when you're standing there at the end of the ceremony, you're not just going,
this random person?
Yeah. James. So yeah, it's terrible, but it's unfortunately one of those things that happens with such an event and so much going on.
Yeah. Before we do wrap things up, is there anything else you need to talk about? I mean, we've covered a heap of stuff.
I've got one more thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know how well received this will be, but we're going to go with it. We're not doing our barbecue this year. Okay.
What?
We have food trucks. Now the internet is either going to melt down or it's going to be amazing, because people ask for better food options, and whilst we don't have all the greatest food options from food trucks available to us, we have managed to secure some. So hopefully that'll make eating a little bit easier on site.
Yep.
So I know that's something big. A lot of the players a lot of the feedback we get is about your little barbecue. The queue was too long. I know, but what else do I have options? Because it's really expensive to try and have food on site. So, but we've managed to secure a couple of options. So,
are you able to say what those options are? Food truck
one of them is one of them's a generic style food. Lots of options, hamburgers, like the whole dim sims and all that. So hopefully we're going to get menus out, but so the second one is a bit up in the air at the moment, because the one we kind of asked for is busy that weekend. So but we'll have two.
They're missing
they are. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They would have made an absolute bucket.
They will.
There's going to be a heap of hungry hobbyists there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yes, so there'll be more variety than just sausage.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, we haven't got any more chats there from anyone. No one's got any more questions, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for your time, Dan.
Cool. No, that's fine. Thank you guys. I mean,
I think we covered absolutely everything. So this will get re-uploaded onto YouTube. So if you did miss it, guys, you will be able to watch the episode back on our YouTube. And we'll make sure
so it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So get your tickets if you're interested.
Can we say 4?
4? But nearly 4 weeks.
Yeah. Just before we go, I just want to thank you guys for your support. Experience at the moment. The road to Arc is a big thing for us, and the fact we're talking about it every I don't know. I honestly don't know if you're talking about nightly because I haven't been able to tune in every night, but you're talking about it every week, and yeah, that really helps people drive their Arc experience. And yeah, we're really grateful. So thank you.
We're glad to be part of it.
100%.
All right, guys, I'm going to switch on back to the stream. So we'll say goodbye to Dan, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Girl, tell me what you say. I don't want you to leave me, though you caught me cheating. Tell me what you say. I really need you in my life, 'cause things ain't right, girl. Tell me what you say. I don't want you to leave me, though you caught me cheating. Tell me what you say. I really need you in my life, 'cause things ain't right. 'Cause when the roof caved in and the truth came out, I just didn't know what to do. But when I become a star, we'll be living so large. I'll do anything for you. So baby, what you say?
What you say? Oh, that you only meant well. Oh, well, of course you did. What you say?
What you say? What you say?
Oh, that it's all for the best.
Oh, well, of course it is.
What you say? Oh, that you only meant well. Well, of course you did. What you say?
What you say? What you say?
What did she say?
Beluga Heights.
New York City. You are now rapping with 50 Cent. You gotta love it. I just wanna chill and twist the lie. Catch stunts in my 745. You drive me crazy, shorty. I need to see you and feel you next to me. I provide everything you need, and I like your smile. I don't want to see you cry. Got some questions that I gotta ask, and I hope you can come up with the answers, baby.
Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me?
All right. Oh, got to update that cam.
If I got locked up and sentenced to a quarter century, could I count on you to be there to support me mentally? If I went back
There we go.
for my bands, would you poof and disappear like some of my friends? If I was here,
That was a good chat.
would you be by my side? If it was time to put it, would you be down to ride?
So
Kill a nigga cap, you chill and drive.
we'll do Road to Arc in 10 minutes, guys. So if you haven't posted stuff
Would you be ashamed to tell your friends
in that thread, 10 minutes. Get your pics in there, and I'll paint for a little bit longer, and then yeah, we'll check out what everyone's working on.
I know you like that.
Hopefully that's answered everyone's questions.
Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have
Love for me, girl.
It's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me?
Now would you leave me if your father found out I was thugging? Do you believe me when I tell you, you the one I'm loving? Are you mad cause I'm asking you 21 questions? Are you my soulmate? Cause if so, girl, you're a blessing. Do you trust me enough
They tell me your dreams. I'm staring at you trying to figure how you got them jeans. If I was down, would you say things to make me smile? I treat you how you wanna be treated, just teach me how. If I was with some other chick and someone happened to see, and when you asked me about it, I said it wasn't me, would you believe me or up and leave me? How deep is our bond if that's all it takes for you to be gone? We only humans, girl, we make mistakes. To make it up, I do whatever it takes. I love you like a fat kid love cake. You know my style, I say anything to make you smile. Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? In a girl, could you love me on a bus? I'll ask 21 questions, and they all about us. Could you love me in a bed? Could you love me on a bus? I'll ask 21 questions, and they all about us.
I think this is the last bit of the the brass base coats. And we'll base coat the lead belcher as well. I don't think this playlist has missed at all tonight. All right, let's do some lead belcher. I got it out already. Nice. Next, we're going to base coat lead belcher on any of the areas that we have painted with standard Mechanicus grey.
it's all in my head.
It's probably one of the more annoying areas on Terminator is these vents on the back. I think this is my favorite song in this playlist.
Gotta change my answering machine now that I'm alone. 'Cause right now it says that we can't come to the phone. And I know it makes no sense, 'cause you walked out the door. But it's the only way I hear your voice anymore. It's ridiculous. It's been months, for some reason I just can't get over. And I'm stronger than this, yeah. Enough is enough. No more walking around with my head down. I'm so over being blue, crying over you.
Thank you, Black Sword. Appreciate it, man.
Sick of love songs, so tired of
I mean, the interview's pretty easy when your guest has got a heap to talk about.
said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Gotta fix that calendar I had that's marked July 15th. Because since there's no more you, there's no more anniversary. I'm so fed up with my thoughts of you and your memory, and how every song reminds me of what used to be. That's the reason I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing you were still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Oh, love song. Hey, don't make me think about her smile or having my first child and letting go.
Hey, Dream Big, how you doing? Dan's one of the guys that go in like, yeah, it's crazy, right? Sometimes all it takes is that one guy that's super passionate about the hobby to, to, you know, give you the drive to, or take up the hobby or continue with the hobby. So why can't I turn off the radio?
Why can't I turn off the radio?
All right, once I get this base coat on, guys, we'll check out the road to Arc, see what people have been working on.
I'm just looking for somebody to talk to and show me some love. If you know what I mean. Everybody jacking me as soon as I stepped in the spot. 200 bitches in the building, ain't none of them hot. Except for this pretty young thing that was working all the way at the top. Shouted, what is your name? Ooh, she made us drinks to drink. We
Still a bit of road to Arc, and then we'll get back into the painting for a bit. We got one road to Arc. That's all right. Let's check out Prophet's Intercessor. Man, that's clean. That is clean, my guy. How good. All the transfers too. Love it, man. Love it. That's the road to Arc. Oh, we've got another road to Arc. We've got some batch painting. Boy Drake is batch painting. Some Blood Angels. Some Blood Angels. Hey, look at that guy there. Assault Marine's my favorite, honestly. The yellow helmet, I don't know. There's something about it. There's something about it. Gave you my baby.
Swing dick like no other. I know I got a lot of things I need to explain, but baby, you know the name, and love is about pain. So stop the complaints and drop the order of restraints. Our sex life's a game, so back me down in the pain. I can't wait no more. Cause it's about 3:15, and sure days I mean I got the Bentley Ballet, and I'm just outside of Jersey, past the Palisades, and I love to see that ass in boots and shades. Spread out on the bed while I'm yanking your braids, thug style. You never thought I'd make you smile while I'm smacking your ass and fucking you all wild. But we share something so rare, but who cares? You can, baby.
I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time, and I gave you my all. Now, baby, be mine. I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time, and I gave you my all. Now, baby, be
Girl,
mine.
get a grip, come on, pull it together. It's only a sun shower. We've been through worse weather like that. Stormy night, you wrote a Dear John letter and took my Benz and keyed and cut the leather. Bitch, you know better. You live M.O.B. Money over bitches, murder I.N.C. I got 2 or 3 hoes for every V, and I keep them drugged up off that ecstasy. I'm a playground legend like Kirkland Pee Wee. They my nigga in the league, got more game than me. I play harder, so many women I fathered. Meet them with scars and send them home hot and bothered. Truth to dare, this life ain't apparently fair. Ain't a love with no glare is a crystal stare. But we share something so rare, but who cares? You can.
Definitely rubbing those off before the miniature is finished.
Always
Gave you my all, baby, be mine.
I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. And I gave you my all. Now, baby, be mine. Always there when you call, always on time. Gave you my baby, be mine. Always there when you call, always on time. Gave you my baby, be mine.
Here, WIZ, we play nothing but the hits. Nothing but the hits. Nothing but the motherfucking hits.
I'm holding on your rope, got me 10 feet off the ground. And I'm hearing what you say, but I just can't make a sound.
Hey, friend, how you doing? It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Watchful. Metallic time, yeah, man, exciting. Won't be done on tonight's stream, but be pretty damn close to done tomorrow. You always screw rivet? Oh, dude, I still screw rivets up. Literally just did then. It happens. It happens. Just gotta be quick on that cleanup. Wasn't sure whether to do the armor color rivets or the silver. I'm just going for silver. Just going for the silver. Give me a sec, guys. I'll be back in a minute. In a minute.
Grab you by your coattail, take you to the motel, wholesale. Don't tell, won't tell. Baby say I don't talk, dog, then she told on me. Oh well, take a picture with me. What the flick gon' do? Baby, stick to me, and I'ma stick on you. If you pick me, then I'ma pick on you. D-O double G, and I'm here to put this dick on you. I'm stuck on pussy, and yours is right. Rip riding the poles, and them doors is tight. And I'ma get me a shot for the end of the night. Cause pussy is pussy, and baby, I'm pussy for life. On that pole, I know you see me looking at you, and you already know I wanna fuck you. You already know I wanna fuck you. You already know. Shorty, I can see you ain't lonely. Handful of niggas and they all got cheese. So you looking at me now, what it's gonna be? Just another tease far as I can see. Trying to get you up out this club. If it means spending a couple dubs. Throwing about 30 stacks in the back, make it rain like that. Cause I'm far from a scrub. You know my pedigree. Ex-dealer used to move amphetamines. Girl, I spend money like it don't mean nothing. And besides, I got a thing for you. I see you whining and grinding up on that pole. I know you see me looking at you, and you already know I wanna fuck you. You already know I wanna fuck you. You already know. Mobbing through the club in a low pressing. I'm sitting in the back in the smoker section. Bird's eye, I got a clear view. You can't see me, but I can see you. It's cool, we jet, the mood is set. Your pussy is wet, you're rubbing your back and touching your neck. Your body is moving, you're humping and jumping. Your titties and bouncing, smiling and grinning and looking at me. Girl, and while you're looking at me, I'm ready to hit the caddy right up on the patio. Move the patty to the caddy. Baby, you got a fatty, the type I like to marry. Wanting to just give you everything, and that's kinda scary. Cause I'm loving the way you shake your ass. Bouncing got me tipping my glass. Normally don't get caught up too fast, but I got a thing for you. I see you whining and grinding up on that pole. I know you see me looking at you, and you already know
sure of what I see. You don't fuck with me. Are you telling me this is a sign? She's looking in my eyes, mostly no other guys. Are you telling me this is a sign?
Don't think about it, boy, leave her alone. Nigga, you ain't no king. She likes my tone, my cologne, and the way I roll.
I think we'll finish off the base coats on these lead belcher areas, and then we'll call it a night. Come back and do the washers and the highlights on them tomorrow. Which for the metallics, there's basically just a shade and an edge highlight. We will go into more depth on the brass areas though. Do a little bit of glazing on them. Boy, leave her alone.
Nigga, you ain't no king. She likes my tone, my cologne, and the way I roll. You ain't no king.
Now you steppin' with a G from Los Angeles, where the helicopters got cameras. Just to get a glimpse of our chucks and our khakis and our bouncing car. You with your friend, right? She ain't tryna bring over no men, right? She ain't gotta be in a distance. She can get high all in an instant.
That's alright, Black Sword. My pleasure. As always. As always. Where'd all my patented Battleforge Gaming miniature holders go?
Nigga, you ain't no king. She likes my tone, my cologne, and the way I roll. You ain't no king.
Mommy, mamacita, have you ever flown on G5 from London to Ibiza?
You gotta have cake too.
You'll have Sundays with your Chiquitas. You'll see Venus and Serena in the Wimbledon arena.
And I can Uncle Charlie,
Nigga, don't be foolish. Don't know what you're doing.
Don't know what you lost until it's gone.
And a pretty face drove you wild. But
You ain't got that Snoop Doggy Dog now.
think about it, boy, leave her alone. Nigga, you ain't no king. She likes my tone, my cologne, and the way I roll. You ain't no king. You ain't no king.
So I have to constantly remind myself to slow down when it comes to getting towards the end with metallics.
Yeah. You know what? I like the players. No dickity, no doubt. Play on, play it. Play on, play it. Yo, Trey, drop the verse.
It's going down, fade to Black Street. The homies got at me, collab creations. Bump like agony, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me. Say out. Tell me who could stop with Dre making moves, attracting honeys like a magnet, giving them orgasms with my mellow accent. Still moving this flavor with the homies Black Street.
Did miss a bit on this.
Original rough shakers.
Shorty get down, good lord. Baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away, I can't get her out of my mind.
Wow.
I
think about the girl all the time. Wow, wow. East side to the west side, pushing fat rides, it's no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash, fast when it comes to the gas. By no means average, it's on when she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10, I wanna get in, can I get down so I can win? I
Like the way you work it, no diggity.
I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
She's got class and style, street knowledge by the pound. Baby, never act wild, very low key on the profile. Catching feelings is a no, let me tell you how it goes. Herbs the word, spins the verb, lovers hit curves so freak what you heard. Rolling with the fatness, you don't even know what the half is. You got to pay to play, just for shorty bang bang to look your way. I like the way you work it, trump tight all day, every day. You're blowing my mind, maybe in time, baby I can get you in my ride.
I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
First class from New York City to Blackstreet. What you know about me? Now the thing, Cartier wooded frame sported by my shorty. As for me, icy gleaming pinky diamond ring. We bees the baddest click up on this scene. Ain't you getting bored with these fake awards? How shows improves, no doubt. I've been thinking so. Please excuse if I come across rude. That's just me, and that's how a player's got to be. Stay kicking game with a capital G. Ask the peoples on my block, I'm as real as can be. Word is born. Faking moves never been my thing. So Teddy, pass the word to your nigga Chauncey. I'll be sending a call, let's say around 3:30. Queen Pen and Black Sheep.
I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Yeah. Come on. Jackie in full effect. Lisa in full effect. Pinky in full effect. Tamika in full effect. Lays in full effect. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. Yeah. Play on, play it. Play on, play it. Play on, play on, play on, play on. 'Cause I like it. No diggity, no doubt. Yeah. Blackstreet Productions. We out, ride. We out, we out.
Soldier boy, tell him.
Man, this song sucks.
Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like
Na 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 every day.
my iPod stuck on replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. It's like my iPod stuck on replay. Remember the first time we met? You was at the mall with your friends. I was scared to approach ya, but then you came closer, hoping you would give me a chance. Who would have ever knew that that we would ever be more than friends. But railroad white breaking all the rules. She like a song played again and again. That girl, like something off a poster. That girl is a damn they say. That girl is a gun to my holster. And she's running through my mind all day. Hey, Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. See you being all around the globe. Now once did you leave my mind? We talk on the phone from night till the morning. Girl, it really changed my life. Doing things I never do. I'm in the kitchen cooking things she likes. Railroad white breaking all the rules. Someday I wanna make you my wife. That girl, like something off a poster. That girl is a damn they say. That girl is a gun to my holster. And she's running through my mind all day. Hey, Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay.
All right. That's about it. That's about it. So we'll be back tomorrow, guys. We'll be back tomorrow to do the rest of the metallics. Will we finish it? I don't know. We'll get damn close though. We'll get damn close. And then I'll be doing a marble base for it. So I'll turn that into a tutorial as well. So it won't be this color. Won't be this color. I think I'll do like a black, jade, and white marble. I think that's what we'll go for. But I'll turn it into a tutorial as well. So yeah, we'll finish. If not tomorrow, it'll be Thursday. It'll be Thursday. But I'm really, really happy with this guy. Like I said, every time I paint a marine now, it's super hard not to paint an army. Not to get sucked into paint an army, because yeah, it'd be really cool to see a full Deathwing army on the tabletop. Anyway, enjoy your day, enjoy your night, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.